Now, on the night team.
A major hurricane headed for South Florida, and it could impact us as early as this weekend.
Tonight, Miami-Dade County sits in the crosshairs of this monster storm.
This storm has the potential to catastrophically devastate our state.
And after it roars across Dade, Broward may be next. In fact, Irma may have its sights set on the entire Sunshine State.
The race to get out. More of Miami-Dade under a mandatory evacuation order.
The longer you wait, the less likely you're going to be able to get gasoline.
In Broward, many have decided to stay, and shelters are running out of room.
A vacation hotspot now, a ghost town. The night team live in Key West.
As Irma approaches, gas lines in Fort Lauderdale are kind of moderate. Get it while you can.
From gas to food to generators, it's a last-minute rush for storm supplies.
And a last-minute rush to get out of town. Airports mobbed.
The experts say it's coming.
Most of the models suggest that this system is aiming for us.
And the experts say it could be catastrophic.
This is going to be one of the most destructive storms we've had in recent memory, if indeed the center comes ashore.
The night team starts right now. This is a special edition of 7 News, tracking Irma.
And tonight, Irma is on the move, powerful, dangerous, and wider than the state of Florida.
Unfortunately, Florida is where it is headed. South Florida in the center of the cone, and officials are warning about a possible direct hit.
Well, these are some late model runs. The Keys, Miami-Dade, Broward look to be in the path, and the effects will start to be felt over the weekend.
Check this out. This is a line for gas drivers, and many of the pumps are running on empty with time running out.
On Miami Beach, the normally jam-packed Lincoln Road is emptied out. It's a ghost town virtually ahead of Irma. Good evening, everybody. South Florida is under both a hurricane watch and a storm surge watch. I'm Craig Stevens.
I'm Belkis Naray. Let's get right to the latest on this storm. Chief Meteorologist Phil Farrow is here to give it to us. Phil?
All right, so there's a lot to digest at this hour. First of all, this is a very strong system, Category 5, 175-mile-per-hour winds. Nothing out there to stop it, deviate it, or slow it down. It is a huge hurricane, a very destructive machine right now, making its way across the Turks and Caicos. A lot of heavy rain there, gusty winds. I'm sure when we get reports out of here, it'll be just as devastating as the ones that we had out of the northern Leeward Islands. This will continue to make a track towards the northwest and eventually be knocking at our door sometime over the weekend. Here's the close-up cone. It will continue to impact some of the islands here, but down the road, it's going to avoid a lot of the main terrain, and it should stay as a strong system, Category 4. So by the time Saturday and Sunday roll around, it'll be somewhere around here with winds of 155 miles per hour. 157, that's the cutoff point for a Cat 5. So regardless, it's going to be a huge, strong system. The cone will continue to shrink. The center of circulation could be anywhere between here and here come Saturday afternoon. I'm sure that by tomorrow, the cone will shrink even more, and that will give us a better idea as to where that center of circulation may eventually make landfall. So by Sunday, 2 p.m., getting close to Lake Okeechobee, this system is about 350 miles wide. South Florida here is about 100 miles wide, so just about everyone will be impacted by this system. So pretty hot water here. These systems need 80 degrees or above. This is possibly the hottest water that we can find. This is the Gulf Stream current, which is extremely warm. It is born out here in the Gulf of Mexico, comes around and heads out into the northern Atlantic. So the hurricane is going to have all the fuel it needs to stay strong. So the National Weather Service, the emergency managers, and the Hurricane Center have issued a hurricane watch for us in the coastal waters. And now watch basically means that we're going to see hurricane force winds over the next, starting over the next 48 hours. So tomorrow will probably be our last good day to go out. Make sure you get all your preparations done and be ready, because when we get this system here, it's going to be very strong, and not just with wind or rain, but there will be the issue of storm surge. Now, earlier, we had a chance to speak with the acting director at the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Ed Rappaport, and this is what he had to say about that issue.
When the storm comes ashore, it will be bringing a storm surge potentially as high as 5 to 10 feet. That will occur where the water is being blown onshore by very strong winds. Of course, the winds are at Category 5 strength, so they build up the water even deeper than would occur otherwise. And that's where we have the greatest risk is going to be along the coast from the storm surge, but even in inland areas from this storm, in the urban areas, because of how strong the winds are. So potential life-threatening storm surge on the coast, and then very destructive winds over the inland urban areas.
All right, so those destructive winds are about 36 to 48 hours away. The system itself is 600 miles from South Florida. Some of the feeder bands about 350 miles away. These clear skies right here, that is the calm before the storm, so take advantage of that during the day tomorrow. Recon plane is in there. They are still finding winds of 160 miles per hour. They will be here all night getting all this information back to the National Hurricane Center. In turn, they'll be able to use that to put out a better forecast cone, and we will probably get that during the day very early tomorrow morning. So what I want to do now is show you what we can expect as far as winds are concerned, and I'm just going to focus on tropical storm force winds. As we move ahead here, you notice that those 40+ mile per hour winds around 11 o'clock in the morning are already impacting the middle, upper Keys, deep southern Miami-Dade County, even Bimini. As we go into the late evening here Saturday night, already from Palm Beach down into Key West and Southwest Florida, already 40+ mile per hour winds. And then it looks like by Sunday, everybody is going to be impacted by wind speeds. The system, 340 miles wide. We're about 100 miles at best here for South Florida. As far as those very strong hurricane force winds, they could be anywhere in here depending on where that eye moves in, and we will probably get a better idea of that during the day tomorrow. Now, we're talking about how big this is. We checked in with CNN, and they did a little report a little while ago comparing the size of Andrew with this system. Check this out. It is amazing. Hurricane Andrew right there, that was about a day or so away from impacting South Florida. And now taking a look at Irma. Irma's about twice as big as Andrew was. And, well, we all know what happened with Andrew as it struck deep southern Miami-Dade County, and many areas down there know exactly what they went through. And we may see some of that again here with this system. As a matter of fact, the director at the National Hurricane Center said that Irma could be the most significant hurricane event to impact South Florida since Andrew, so be ready. Here are the advisories that remain in place. Everything in red, hurricane warning. What we are still looking at is a hurricane watch, and I'm sure this could change by 11 p.m. tonight, but I am sure that by tomorrow it will go to a hurricane warning, as by then we will probably be about 24 hours away from seeing hurricane force winds here. So now we know what we're looking at, but what can we really expect? Well, we have team coverage tonight, and for that, I'm going to send it over. No, we don't. We'll be back later on with that team coverage. Right now, let's send it back to the desk for more.
Okay, Phil, thanks. We'll check back with you, I'm sure, more than once.
At least. Well, a good deal of anxiety across the area as Irma does move in this direction.
We have a team of reporters spread out across the area covering evacuations and preparations, and we're going to start with the night team's Brian Enton. He's live on Miami Beach with what's going on there. Brian?
Belkis, this is where it really starts to hit home. We are on Lincoln Road. You know what it's normally like out here. There's people everywhere. It's loud. The restaurants are going. Well, take a look behind me. It's pretty much empty. We've seen a handful of people walk by over the last half an hour or so. Every single restaurant and business is closed. Most of them look like this. They boarded up today. They've got sandbags out front. And many of the people who live and work in this area are out of town. No loud music or parties on Miami Beach. Just the sound of drills as homes and businesses make last-minute storm preps.
It looks like a ghost town. There's no one here now.
We know it's gonna be bad. We are expecting it to be bad.
State and local leaders warn Irma could be far worse than what most South Floridians have ever seen before.
Remember, Hurricane Andrew is one of the worst storms in the history of Florida. This is much worse and more devastating on its current path.
Parts of Miami-Dade County have been told to get out. Mandatory evacuations in all the red, orange, and parts of the yellow areas on this map. That includes parts of Homestead, Coral Gables, Miami Beach, Miami Shores, and more. 700,000 people live in the evacuation zones.
This is serious, and we cannot take chances. If you're told to evacuate, get out quickly.
Those of you who are planning on leaving town and have not left yet, I urge you to leave.
Traffic headed north on the Turnpike in 95 was stop and go Thursday. Many getting a late start because they waited in long lines to get gas.
While we're making progress, you will see lines or outages, unfortunately. I know this has to be very frustrating, and we will not stop working on this.
If you haven't left South Florida yet, it might be a challenge. Traffic is expected to only get worse Friday. It's the reason some say they're now staying put, planning to ride out Irma.
We don't want to get caught on the road. We don't want to get caught anywhere, and most of the people know how to take care of themselves.
Okay, so you can clearly tell this area is under an evacuation order, and we've learned for the first time ever the University of Miami is evacuating tomorrow because of a hurricane. They closed down the campus and canceled classes on Wednesday. There were a number of students left behind. Now they are requiring that those students leave the campus and go to a shelter. Live on Miami Beach, Brian Entin, 7 News Night Team.
Some concern in Broward, too, obviously. The Night Team's Brandon Beyer is in Fort Lauderdale with a look at that for us. Brandon.
Well, Craig, Fort Lauderdale Beach is all but empty. Tourists basically gone. Those who live here in the process of leaving, and some with a very specific message for the storm.
Get out now. Your window of time to evacuate is closing rapidly.
Fort Lauderdale Beach is empty. All but a few stragglers, that is. But it seems most are listening to officials.
I cannot stress to you enough how important it is for you to evacuate if you live east of Federal Highway.
Even if they're waiting until the last minute.
We live close and we need to leave tomorrow.
Primetti Brothers Pizza never closes, but even they are boarding up for Irma.
People are just listening to that. Everyone got water, got the food, and they're getting out of Dodge.
Of course, there are some who will stay no matter what.
It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. We just have to go with the flow, right?
But mandatory evacuations mean when you may need first responders most, they're not coming.
Our deputies and our firefighters who are so prepared for this will stop responding when winds reach a sustained speed of about 45 miles an hour.
And as we know now, that could happen sometime on Saturday. Most people taking this evacuation very seriously. We're live on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Brandon Beyer, 7 News 19.
All right, Brandon, thanks.
We've got more now on those emergency evacuations that are in place across South Florida. Some people heading out of town, others are heading to shelters.
We have night team coverage in Miami-Dade and Broward. We're going to start with Sheldon Fox. He is in Miami. Sheldon.
Well, Craig, the lights may be on in downtown and in Brickell, but don't let those sparkly buildings fool you. People are on the way out for the most part, and they're taking this seriously, even if they're out and about tonight. A look at this restaurant in the Brickell area is enough to make you think there's nothing but sunny days ahead. But a walk through the street reveals otherwise.
Seeing as the storm is looking to go right up the center of the state, I mean, and it's still category 4 or 5, so it's not getting any weaker, and I just figured I got to get out of here, and it helped that seeing all the locals kind of panicking and heading out and getting flights left and right, so I realized I got to join San Jose. I'm flying to SF, and then I have family all over the Bay Area.
I'm leaving for Lima at 2 a.m. She's leaving to LA at 8 a.m. We all got to go.
Many are leaving for the airport from sparkly downtown buildings with lots of glass and new construction. Others say they're going to ride it out in some of those towers. And then others tell us they're still weighing their options, believe it or not.
My plan is to stay, but I have my grandmother, and she has a flight for tomorrow. So if it gets canceled, I will pick her up and drive north. The safest thing to do is get away.
Again, the Brickell area and many other neighborhoods in Miami-Dade County, the spot where the city, county, and state do not want you to be, whether you're in a mobile home park in Miami or a barrier island like Bay Harbor or among the downtown skyscrapers. Their message is simple: leave.
I cannot stress this enough. Do not ignore evacuation orders. Remember, we can rebuild your home. We cannot rebuild your life.
Everything that we're seeing does not give us any indication that it is
going to do anything but come from the southeast, which is the most dangerous trajectory that it can have for South Florida and for the city of Miami. And so we're urging you to take this seriously.
And the longer you wait, the harder it is to get out. That from Commissioner Suarez. He had lots to say on this, as well as others, and you've heard it all day long. Right now, not the time to be dragging your feet if the plan is to get out. So do it now. We're live in the Brickell area, downtown Miami. Sheldon Fox, 7 News 19.
Okay, Sheldon, and if you're going to do it now, you don't have a place to go, you need a shelter. Here is a list. Let's run it down. North Miami Beach Senior High School, one stop where you can go. South Miami Senior High School, another shelter. Felix Varela High School, that is another location for anyone seeking shelter. We've got North Miami Senior High School, Miami Carroll City Senior High, that's in Miami Gardens, and in the city of Miami, Miami Central Senior High School is another location, another shelter that's open. Also, Terra Environmental is another shelter. And last but not least, for our viewers that have pets, the pet-friendly shelter is located on 109th Street and Coral Way in Miami.
Now to Broward County, emergency shelters there are filling up and some are running out of space. The 19's Chris Van Vliet is in Pompano to spell that out for us. Chris?
Well, Craig, these shelters are filling up, and they're filling up quickly. This one here at Pompano Beach High School was at capacity in just 3 hours. So if you are planning to go to a shelter, there's no need to wait. You should get to one soon. This one, though, is just one of many that is willing to open the doors to you and to your pets.
We are at capacity.
Residents looking for a safe place to stay during Hurricane Irma are filling up shelters like this one at Pompano Beach High School very quickly.
We opened up at 12 and we became full at 3 o'clock.
And that means many are being redirected to other locations.
We were going to stay here tonight, but we can't because they're full. Now I don't know where we're going to go.
Some shelters like Millennium Middle School in Tamarack not only welcome you, but your pets too.
I have a dog, 3 cats, and 2 birds. So, yes, so I'm afraid and I don't want to be home alone.
As of 12 noon, Broward County is under a mandatory evacuation for all residents east of US 1.
Real scary. Real scary. This one looked too close.
So what's your plan?
I'm going to run like hell as soon as we get all this stuff picked up.
Both locals and tourists are doing exactly that.
We could not get a flight out. Everything was booked. No trains could take us out.
While some boarded up, others moved out anything that could possibly be damaged by flooding. We even lent a helping hand.
Down? Yep, I'm coming right down. This is one of the worst hurricanes I've ever seen in my entire life.
In Deerfield Beach, residents who park on the street found safety for their cars in garages like this, offering hurricane parking. This man with his 1969 Pontiac Grand Prix wasn't taking any chances.
If it's here, it's out of the water.
So if you're planning to go to a shelter, they're recommending that you bring your own bedding, your own water, and something to eat. We're live in Pompano Beach. I'm Chris Van Vliet, 7 News.
Okay, Chris, thanks. And with that in mind, let's run through the shelters in Broward County that are available. Lions Creek Middle School at Coconut Creek, Monarch High and Coconut Creek also on Wiles Road, Coral Glades High School at Sportsplex Drive in Coral Springs, Fox Trail Elementary in Davie, Rock Island Elementary in Fort Lauderdale, Watkins Elementary in Pembroke Park. Also on the list in Broward, Park Lakes Elementary in Lauderdale Lakes, New Renaissance Middle School in Miramar, Everglades High School in Miramar, West Broward High School in Pembroke Pines, Plantation Elementary School, also obviously in Plantation, is among the list in Broward County, the West Falcon Cove Middle School in Weston, and the pet-friendly shelter for those folks this would apply, Millennium Middle, the Challenger Elementary School campus on 94th Avenue in Tamarack.
Tonight, concern in the Keys is growing over Irma's impact.
The night team's Nicole Ensalada is in Key West for us. Nicole.
Well, I can tell you the folks here with the City Commission here in Key West, as well as county administrators and officials, all got together maybe about an hour and a half or so ago. And they were really concerned. They just still wanted to press forward that message that people need to leave the Keys. Not just because of what could happen during the storm, but the aftermath. They fear that no matter what kind of effects they feel here in Key West, it could be rough. So whether people were deciding whether or not they were going to stay or whether or not they were going to go, many people still, though, looking for gasoline.
The words tonight are sobering.
This is a big, dangerous storm, something that's never been seen before in the Atlantic. It's headed our way.
We have 42 bridges that connects Key West to the rest of the mainland. If one of those bridges go out, it'll be a long time before we get any services back down here.
Many in the Keys decided to heed the warnings and go, but others are not so sure.
And we're still giving it till midnight tonight before we make a decision.
I'm going to stay for the storm.
You're going to stay?
I'm going to stay for the storm. Go around and go to number 1.
But stay or go, it seems everyone is looking for gas. The owners of the southernmost shell tried to keep lines moving quickly, but eventually the gas there simply ran out as well. County officials say they're working on getting fuel tanks down to the Keys as quickly as possible.
I know that the governor has been pushing some fuel down. There was a couple with Florida Highway Patrol came down with them. That's the best we can do.
Now, the county has been trying to update its Facebook page, putting out the names of those gas stations that have fuel, but it's really difficult because one minute they could have fuel, the next minute they don't, and then you're waiting for another tanker delivery, that sort of thing. So they're hoping that they'll be able to keep folks abreast of the gasoline situation. They're hoping as many people as possible will be leaving tomorrow. Reporting live in Key West, Nicole Ensalada, 7 News 19.
All right, Nicole, a long line for fuel yet again. Drivers and many of the pumps are gassed out. Fuel is in such high demand across the state, tanker trucks are getting emergency escorts from state troopers. Some drivers waiting for hours to fill up their tanks.
Team Steve Shapiro is live with more on this. Steve.
Hey, looky. We got 8 pumps at the Chevron US 1 and State Road 84. 8 pumps, 8 cars. Come on out and get some gas if you need it. This place is going to be open till midnight. We did some trolling north and south on US 1. They're still pumping gas this hour at various stations up and down US 1 in Fort Lauderdale. Late this afternoon, we pulled into this Chevron just as this driver got the last drops of gas.
Yes, nice guys finished last for once, I guess. I got really lucky. I just did the U-turn here and I pulled up around back, and this ended up being the only gas pump with gas in the whole station.
It's a miracle! A 9,000-gallon delivery. Some people heard me talking about it on the news.
My wife told me, say, it's the gas station by the port. So I had to run over here. I couldn't help it.
Where'd you hear that?
Channel 7, as usual.
Tankers from the port of Fort Lauderdale get an FHP escort to the gas stations. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow.
No, you're not going to go first. Pull it over there now. Don't leave yet. Pull over there. Get your gas.
Scooters top off with 2 gallons. This group just back from vacation in the Bahamas.
It was the last flight out of the Bahamas. We got on it to get here, so yeah, we got lucky. We'd be over there for the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, worst places to be.
Yeah. Well, no power wouldn't be that much fun.
Yeah. Can I borrow your credit card?
No.
Oh, man, I am such a bad man. Those guys were driving all the way to Winter Haven after they left here. Hey, our viewers called in. Earlier in the evening, I said that tanker held 80,000 gallons of gas. It's 80,000 pounds of gas, which is equal to, really, you let the dog out right now? Which is equal to 9,000 gallons. If each car got about 15, why don't we get away from everybody? If each car got about 15 gallons of gas, divided by 15, that equals about 600 cars was serviced by that tanker. We got dogs, we got horns, we got everything going here. Let's give the audience a big hug. Thanks for calling in, everybody. Stay with us. We're going to get you through this. Live in Fort Lauderdale, I'm Steve Shapiro.
And
7
you
News
did
19.
math. Way to go, Shap. Thanks, Steve.
All right, Steve. Well, from food to generators, gas to generators, so on, everybody's stocking up on last-minute supplies. Mike DePasquale is here to tell us about that. He's in Hollywood. Mike?
We have been at this Publix in Hollywood on Sheridan since about 2 o'clock, and I have to tell you, the people that were lined up, whether it was really, really busy or right now, I'm going to step aside and you can see it's sort of dwindling off. People have been very kind. There's been no pushing, no panic, and I actually saw some people help elderly people coming in push their carts. So So far, so good, and we also had some people that had success in finding what they're looking for. On this Thursday night, reality continues to set in. Get those last-minute supplies. A welcome sight around 7:30, water. Was it a pleasant surprise when you saw this water coming up?
Because I really wasn't expecting to get any cases or anything, so.
The anticipated wait was well worth it. 2 cases per person, 24 bottles per case.
It's been very hard to find water, and I'm glad that they had it. Like, I came here luckily, you know, to come pick up some food and stuff for my family and found some water, so it was great.
At the Home Depot in North Miami, patience and luck went hand in hand preparing for the impending hurricane. If you were fortunate enough, you found a portable generator. I see you got the generator. Now you're trying to figure out how you're going to get it home.
Correct. So the guys from Home Depot are helping out right now, so we'll see if we can get this done.
Is that the most frustrating thing, that you were able to find a generator? Now you're trying to figure out how you're going to get it home?
Wasn't expecting that to be able to fit in the car.
And you were fortunate enough to find other things you need for your home.
They all out of wood, so I'm gonna go with Durarock.
That's like a cement board.
Yeah, exactly. It can absorb the water, so it's actually better than the wood.
So that Home Depot we went to in North Miami, that's going to be open, we are told, till midnight. That is on Biscayne. As far as this Publix is concerned, they're going to close around 11 o'clock. There's still very few bottles of water left, a couple of cases left, but we're told they anticipate a new shipment in the morning. This Publix will open at 7 o'clock. And remember that all Publix grocery stores in Dade and Broward counties will close tomorrow, Friday at 9 p.m. After that, they don't know when they're going to reopen. Let's all be thankful and let's hope for the best. Reporting live from Hollywood, Mike DePasquale, 7 News 19.
All right, Mike, well, if you at home have questions about the storm, send Phil a tweet with the hashtag AskPhil. He is very busy, but when he has time, when he has a chance, he will do his best to tweet you back. And starting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the evening, we'll be simulcasting our newscasts on these radio stations. These are our radio partners, so if you lose power during or after the storm, tune in. Just make sure you have the batteries you're going to need to operate your radio. That's on your checklist of things in your plan. Batteries.
Got to have a list.
Yeah.
More night team coverage of Hurricane Irma is straight ahead.
Waiting on that 11 p.m. advisory with the latest information, the latest thinking, and the latest cone from the forecasters at the National Hurricane Center. It'll also give us a better idea of the timing of things as they are set to unfold this weekend.
We're live at MIA after an officer opens fire. Coming up, what led to that shooting and more travel troubles at the airport today.
7's Business Buzz. Here's one of the 7 businesses in South Florida you need to know.